One of the most elite schools in Japan, Hayakeu Private Academy, is only open to the wealthy. But unlike most schools, this one has a terrifying hierarchy based on gambling, and it's entirely run by the student council. The best gamblers enjoy fame, fortune, and power, while the student body treats those who are in debt like pets and servants. Ryota Suzui welcomes Yumiko Jabami, a mysterious second-year transfer student, to the institution. A student has turned into a pet after losing a wager to Mary Sayatome, the best gambler in their class. Mary challenges Yumiko to a modified version of rock, paper, scissors. Yumiko loses, but she demands a final wager of 10 million yen in cash and explains how Mary manipulated the class votes to determine Yumiko's cards. Yumiko makes fun of Mary for revealing her strategies before winning the game and forcing Mary into debt. Yumiko regards Ryota as a friend and expresses her gratitude to him for adding to the game's excitement by sharing some of her winnings with him. Mary's loss causes her to become a pet. Yumiko is challenged to a game of double concentration by Itsuki Sumeragi, daughter of the CEO of Japan's leading toy company, and a first-year student who is known for never losing a card game and who is on the student council. Itsuki uses 2 decks of cards produced by her father's business for this wager, and she narrowly defeats Yumiko to win 20 million yen. Itsuki agrees to a second round despite Yumiko's financial limitations in exchange for the right to have Yumiko's fingernails and toenails removed to add to her growing collection of nails if Yumiko loses. Itsuki plays with the same 2 decks she always does, confident in her ability to trick the game using the card's heat-activated patterns. Itsuki claims that Yumiko would have won if she had used a different deck, but Yumiko reveals that she had figured out her strategy and used her brain to memorize the cards, winning the game. Yumiko makes it to the clubroom of the Traditional Culture Research Society in time to witness Mary lose a high-stakes wager and incur a debt of 40 million yen. Yumiko is challenged to a game of life or death by Mary's rival, Yuriko Nishinatoin, president of the Culture Club and a member of the Student Council. After the first game ends in a tie, Yumiko surmises that Yuriko has been deceiving by having the dealer wear magnets on her hand to influence the movement of the swords. Members of the Student Council, including Council President Kurari Mamabami, intervene to watch the game just as Yuriko starts to freak out about the possibility of losing more than 2 billion yen. Yumiko believes the Student Council's elaborate scheme to cheat in their game, which involved going to the room below and using magnets to keep her from winning, is the reason Yuriko won. Yumiko is also categorized as a pet and is currently 310 million yen in debt. The Student Council assigns Yumiko and Mary life schedules that determine every aspect of their futures, including their choice of career, their choice of spouse, and even the number of children they will have if their debts are not paid. The Student Council announces a debt exchange game, in which groups of 4 students engage in a game of 2-card Indian poker to trade debts. The winner completely wipes out their debt and may even walk away with some cash. Yumiko and Mary are grouped with Nanami Tsubomi, another pet, and Jun Kiwatari, a troubled male student. Even though Jun is debt-free, he enters a small 10 million yen debt to benefit from the game. Jun seems to have figured out that Yumiko and Mary are collaborating, but Mary's bluffing tactics have caught him off guard. Yumiko and Mary think Jun is pressuring Nanami to commit fraud on his behalf. Jun is in a desperate situation because if he does not win the game, it will turn into a bluffing contest, and he will be required to make a significant debt payment. He moves up successfully, but when Nanami has a chance to pass him, he panics and tries to force her to submit. Nanami defies Jun's orders and fights for herself after Yumiko convinces her to. After it is discovered that Yumiko and Mary had switched their debts, making Yumiko's the least valuable, Mary wins the competition while Jun comes in last. As a result, Mary's debt is discharged. Jun inherits Yumiko's 310 million debt. Yumiko inherits Mary's 50 million debt, and Nanami inherits the same debt she started with but with a newfound sense of freedom and self-worth. Despite having enough money, Yumiko has not paid her debt, leading the Student Council to believe that she wants to challenge Kurari to a match. Midari Ikishima, a psychotic Student Council member, challenges Yumiko to a game of guessing in which the winner of each round points one of 2 revolvers at the loser and fires without either person knowing which of the weapon's 6 chambers contains a bullet. Despite the possibility of losing her life, Yumiko agrees, but only if the game is limited to 3 rounds. Ryota serves as the dealer, and the loser is required to pay 1 billion yen. The loser may fire a shot in response if the winner purposefully misses her shot, says Midari. Midari has a higher first-round score and fully loads her gun. Yumiko cautions Midari against pulling the trigger, but Midari disregards her advice. Midari fires without pausing, but Yumiko's gun is empty and belongs to her. In response to losing to the council president, Midari poked her left eye out in retaliation. She later realized that she only finds gambling enjoyable when the stakes are pain or death. Ryota simply uses her card order from round 1, while Yumiko correctly matches each card in the second round. By flipping the screen and giving Ryota 10 seconds to deal the cards in the same order as before during the final round, Midari puts Ryota under pressure. Yumiko loads 2 rounds after spotting the fraud. Knowing that a full match necessitates Yumiko to squeeze the trigger 5 times, ensuring at least 1 shot, Midari aims for no matches to get shot. Yumiko, on the other hand, foils her strategy by receiving no matches as well, resulting in a tie. Yumiko dislikes Midori for playing games with no risk because she finds them boring. After losing, Midori begs Yumiko to kill her, but she declines. In contrast, Mary renounces the council and swears vengeance on Kurari. Second years Kid Manuda and Yumamite were able to take advantage of the situation to increase their level of power after Kurari left the academy, leaving the rest of the council unsure of how to handle Yumiko. After losing to Yumiko, Itsuki is in danger of losing her father's support. But in response to Yumami's challenge letter, Itsuki offers to be loyal to her in exchange for Kurari's defeat, the presidency, and the restoration of her council seat. Yumami wagers Yumiko 50 million yen on the result of an idol championship competition that will take place on stage, and if Yumiko loses, Yumami will alter her schedule to force her into an idol duo with her, destroying any hope she has of having a social life or meaningful relationships, much like Yumami's own life. Yumiko tricks Yumami into confessing her true feelings, that her fans are all disgusting pigs, using a recording device before adding it to the wager. If Yumami loses, Yumiko will make the tape public, effectively ending her professional career and her dreams of becoming a Hollywood actress. Yumami extends an open invitation to the bet, which will take place following the in-school concert that Kid organized. Yumami allows Yumiko to win several games, giving the impression that she is in danger of losing, as they play games meant to test idol skills, such as dancing and singing. For the final game, which is crucial because if Yumiko loses, she forfeits the entire bet, and they must guess the birth month of audience members. Yumami is sure she will win because she has memorized the birthdays of every member of her fan club, but she becomes terrified when Yumiko throws dice and Mary is the audience member selected. When Mary's birthday is revealed to be in March rather than December, Yumiko scares Yumami into writing 9 on her card when she meant to write 6, but Yumiko wins the game because her guess was 3 months closer. Even after the recording was played, Yumami's supporters continued to support her. Yumiko, encouraged by Yumami's conviction, reveals that a ripped-up fan letter that was sent to Yumami the night before the challenge match was an attempt to ruin her career. The only other person who could have managed the match with Yumami is Kid, who Yumami then accuses, as Kid denies any wrongdoing and declares his intention to become the next president. Declaring it an official match that he is not permitted to refuse, Yumiko suggests they gamble to determine who is lying. The leaders of Kurari's extended family, all of whom are Mamabami clan members, gather for a meeting. Kid concludes while still on stage that Yumiko is just a gambling addict who gambles for the sheer thrill of it. The masked vice president, Ririka, suggests a modified version of poker where no one can fold or call and the last person to raise gets to decide whether a stronger or weaker hand wins, ensuring that there is a winner in every round. Ririka also insists on being the dealer. Like traditional poker, each player may discard and replace any number of cards once before placing a bet. Kid spends 1 billion on 100 poker chips, while Yumiko uses her 310 million on just 31. Kid is inspired by Yumiko's love of taking chances to use his astute reasoning and intellect to win the following rounds after Yumiko wins the first round. Yumiko is given the chance to continue playing, and she approaches Itsuki in the crowd for cash. Yumiko stands up for Itsuki as a friend and exhorts her to follow her dreams even if it means taking a chance rather than taking Kid's seat back as the safe choice. Itsuki musters her courage and purchases 100 chips for Yumiko. Kurari shockingly informs the other family heads that she will no longer be there for them. Yumiko and Kid keep betting until Yumiko runs out of chips once more, but they keep buying more until Kid raises her bet by 100 chips, forcing her to fold because she is out of chips. Itsuki initially rejects Yumiko's suggestion that she wagers her life in exchange for a life schedule, but after seeing Yumiko's cards, she rips out her fingernails and agrees to wager her life. Kid challenges Ririka's determination that her life schedule is worth $10 billion considering Itsuki's family fortune. Then Ririka removes her mask, revealing that she is Kurari and that the two of them are twins. Kid desperately wagers 10 billion on his life schedule, choosing strong, with Yumiko's wager now at 12 billion. On the other hand, Yumiko reveals that Itsuki's desperation was a ploy to get Kid to pick strongly and that she has 3 jacks as opposed to Kid's 3 eights. Kid loses his council seat as a result of his enormous debt. Yumiko and Kurari sit down to discuss why they gamble, and they both seem to have feelings for one another. Finally, a game of chance pits the two individuals against one another. Yumiko and Kurari engage in combat, with the victor being kicked off by Councilwoman Rune Yamazuki. Tarot Cards of Fate is the game that Kurari chooses. Yumiko scores 1 point for choosing a card. If Kurari picks a 21-point card facing away from Yumiko, Yumiko must score 20 points, or Ryota must find the Fool card facing Yumiko. Mary and Sumeragi believe the Fool to be a card with a lipstick stain on it. Ryota promises to share her fate to be with Yumiko, who asserts that she is the only one facing expulsion. Ryota is tempted to select the marked card, but he decides against it because he thinks Kurari is playing a trick on him. This causes Yumiko to become extremely aroused. Kurari now has 20 points after selecting the 20-point card. No one is kicked out of the game after Runa declares it a draw, but Kurari and Yumiko decide to gamble again later. In the climactic scene, Ryota summarizes Yumiko's influence on everyone she gambled with. Despite Kurari's choice to dissolve the student council, Yumiko is still a compulsive gambler. For more anime recap, click here.